Hello again, Mason the Rock Henderson. Again, I got a problem. And it's this festering problem. I'm at the fork in the road. I gotta make a decision. It is the crossroads of destiny, if you will. Um, if you're an Avatar The Last Airbender fan, that joke means something to you. If you're not, what are you doing on my channel? Get off now. Go watch Avatar now. I'm just kidding. Stay, watch, enjoy. There are 3 nights. That was 6. There are 3 nights in every week where I watch more than one episode. And Monday nights are about to get crazy. Depends on how Supergirl is. But all 3 of those nights that have more than one episode, or more than one show, it's the first episode, or the first show that comes on, is not as good as the second show. Monday nights, Gotham comes, thankfully, a whole hour before Fargo. Tuesday nights, NCIS, which hopefully will be getting better this season, comes right before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And now Thursday nights, I didn't even think of it, Bones comes right before the Blacklist. And so, the question I'm juggling in my head is... Juggling? Why did I say joggle? It's what this show does to me. Do I go with the best first, so I can get all my happy emotions out first and then talk about my disappointment? Or do I keep doing the same thing I've been doing, which is time-based first? Anyway, talk about the show that is just really frustrating me right now. Bones. Season 11, episode 4, I think? Better than last week. Last week was just predictable. This week a little bit better. I did find humor, at least this week. There was some humor to be found. And I don't know if the writers knew going into this episode how the whole... If you guys don't know, season 11 was built up a lot in the last month before it happened. And there was a lot of talk, is Booth gonna die? Because that's what they seemed like they were playing towards. And I feel like, I didn't actually check on this, but I feel like a lot of people were probably like, you can't kill off Booth. Like, what's this show without Booth? It would just be Brennan. And yeah, that would not work. And that's kind of, they were satirizing it a bit, because Brennan in her new book writes that Booth's character dies. And then her character that represents her goes on to solve more crimes with this sexy younger agent, and of course Aubrey thinks it's him, which they play through with it through the whole episode, which I found kind of funny, just because that's how I felt when I heard all this talk coming into this season. Is Booth gonna die? I'm like, they can't kill him off. They tried to kill him off. It would not work, and that's as kind of how I think they were playing this. Maybe they weren't. If they weren't, then great accidental humor. But as far as the case itself, once again, just apparently people kill over fantasy football now. And not just that, but they will also stay in a city that's getting bombed when they're off at war. They made fantasy football seem like such a big deal. But anyway, start talking about it from the beginning. Started off really just cliche, father and son out in the woods. The son is into all this stuff, and he's talking talking about dresses and all of it, and you can tell the kid's feminine, and his father is not liking it, and it's just, I've seen it so many times that I get, again, my personal preferences, I get frustrated seeing cliches used so many times. But anyway, for some reason they come across the skull of the victim. For some reason, the son decides, hey, I'll shoot a skull, and shoots it and blows it up, which solely there just to create problems for the Jeffersonian to, oh, we're missing some bones because the kid shot the head. Um, so that was kind of just a stupid opening for me. But then they go into Booth and Brennan at home and find out about the book. No, wait. Were they at home or they at the diner? I get stuff mixed up all the time. You guys know if you watch more than one video. But, find out about the new book. He's frustrated with it. It's funny. And then go into the Jeffersonian where they're looking at the bones. And what a weird episode. They bring in the guy that's, I don't even remember his name, but he's just the cocky guy. The guy that just says what's on the top of his head, thinks he's the best and nobody's better, and just has no sense of judgment on what to say. And then they bring in Betty White, which I saw they were doing last week and totally forgot. And when I saw her, I was like, oh yeah, they're bringing her in. And just, it was weird. It was really weird. The cocky guy had erectile dysfunction. Okay, why? What's the point of this? And just, it was weird. It's really weird. He talks to Hodgins about it, and then they kind of joke about it a little bit, and then Betty White later on is like, when you've been around as many old guys as me, you can smell it. And I'm like, this is weird. Like, I know Betty White's not exactly the the cleanest old lady out there. I know. I've seen commercials, other shows. So it's no surprise hearing it from her, but it's just like, why? Like, what was the point of all of this? At the end of the episode, like, obviously he gets over it, and okay, Betty White's whole purpose was not for that, that joke. And the way they handle her is okay. Brennan kind of builds her up to be this super genius, kind of like her. And sure enough, she is very smart. She catches a couple things that Brennan does not. And at the end of the episode, Brennan kind of apologizes for being jealous of her, even though she had no idea she was being jealous. And, it was nice to see Brennan, I guess, kind of take a step back from being like, oh, I'm amazing, I'm awesome. Because sometimes it does get a little over the top. And I say a little, I am very much exaggerating. It gets over the top a lot. But sometimes you just know it's part of her character. And then there are times where you're like, shut up! Just stop! You're not that awesome. You're very pretty, but you're not that awesome. Me. But, yeah, that was pretty much it for Betty White as well. As far as the case, like I said, fantasy football, that's all it was. Whenever they brought it up, kind of like the, what's it called, organ donor last week, I knew it wasn't going to be a part of the episode, or a part of the murder. I knew it was just going to be, it was going to be a part of it, but it wasn't going to be what the murder was about. I honestly hoped, from the bottom of my heart, that fantasy football was not going to be the reason behind this murder, and it was. And great plot twist? I mean, they even made a joke about it. Like, I think Aubrey said something about, oh, so people are killing over fantasy football now? I was like, seriously, like, that doesn't make any sense. That can't be the reason. It is the reason. Come to find out, there are all these different things that it could be. The assistant that they meet at the beginning, he had a reason. He was trying to get his house foreclosed, and this guy ditched him because of fantasy football. That's a good reason. Another guy that's a part of the fantasy football league, his wife was cheating on him with the victim because of his fantasy football addiction. That's a good reason too. But no, it's because the commissioner of the league was afraid of losing his job as fantasy football commissioner because he liked that job. And so he killed him over a dumb fantasy football commissioner job. I mean, come on. Like, there's gotta be a better and not that all of the Bones episodes have had great reasons for the murder. Some of them have been stupid. Some of them have been, most of them have been, it was just an accident. It was a fit of rage. I got angry, pushed them, and they fell and hit their head on the table and they died. So it's not like I've never seen any stupid reasons for murder, but this kind of just takes the cake, especially when last season was kind of a dud, and now this season you really want to, get something going. You want to come up with some clever cases. Fantasy football? I mean, I get that it's a popular thing in America, but murder because of fantasy football? Our society is messed up, but not that messed up. At least I hope not. If people have actually died from fantasy football, if the loved one of yours has died from fantasy football, I apologize for being so, crass about it. But seriously, it's a dumb reason for murder, in my opinion. Especially when this show has done such great things with murder, with Bones. I love watching this show unless it gets really stupid like this. I mean, the whole episode just filled with stupid jokes. The guy not being able to get it up, stupid joke. Betty White, just all of her stuff being involved in that stupid joke. And the only good joke was honestly the fourth wall break. Booth talking about his character dying and how that would be dumb. And that was funny, and that was pretty much it. And other than that this episode really didn't bring much, in my opinion, and that's really disappointing. And I hate whenever my shows just really lose. They just drop the ball. They lose the plot. They have no idea what's going on. They're like, oh yeah, this is good. We'll put that out there. And the only other thing worth mentioning is Betty White said something at the very end about the book. That there were two parts to it. The first part was just the reason why Brennan did it. It was because she was getting bored because everything was good. That's really, really weird. She was pretty much saying that Brennan killed his character because things were all good. And because things were all good, she doesn't like that. There's got to be some sort of conflict. Her and Booth, they argue a lot, but that's part of. Don't get me wrong. I understand in relationships there's arguing, there's bickering, but that's not all there is. There are times when you can be peaceful, you can be happy. In fact, if you're never peaceful or happy with your partner, they're probably not right for you. Don't take my word on that, but just really think about it. You're never happy, you're always arguing, always bickering. Probably not right for you. And so the fact that she was pretty much saying, well, because it was a good time, you got upset with that and you wrote his character dying. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But then she also says something else which, again, this is me. I read into stuff sometimes that I probably shouldn't. But she said, whenever stuff gets boring, you start killing off characters. And the show's gotten boring. And I'm wondering if that's what they're thinking. Like, maybe they're watching the ratings and it's like, oh, this is getting worse and worse. Maybe we should just start killing off characters. So I don't know if they're going to take that route. But it was an interesting thing when they've been talking about the book as if it were the show for most of this time. And then they throw that in at the very end. Oh, if it gets boring, just start killing off characters. Like, are you going to start doing that? Because that's not the right thing to do. There's better things to do than just kill off characters, But that's pretty much it for this episode. Another disappointment, in my opinion. Really just, like I said in my last one, come back! I really want to love this show again, and they're making it very hard. But I'm past that now. Now we can move on to the better show. So I will see you the next review, The Blacklist.